Today is the 8th of September 2025, which means it is exactly 137 years since Jack the Ripper murdered 47-year-old Annie Chapman right here on Hanbury Street. Here's what happened. The 8th of September 1888 was a Saturday, and in the very early hours of that morning, Annie was sitting in the kitchen of Crossingham's lodging house, which stood only moments southwest at number 35 Dorset Street and was a horrible place to live. Connecting Crispin Street to Commercial Street, Dorset Street was considered to be Whitechapel's most dangerous slum, and it teemed with nasty characters. At the time, it looked like this, and those three women on the left are actually standing outside of Crossingham's. At 8p a night, that's where Annie had been staying, but now she didn't have the money, and so House Deputy Timothy Donovan called her up to his office, which stood facing the entrance, and told her that she had to leave. At 2:10 a.m, in a black coat, a black skirt, and with a black scarf around her neck, she made her way to the front door, but then stood there for 2 or 3 minutes. Outside, everything seemed to be fairly normal, but with the killer of Martha Tabram and Mary Ann Nichols still unidentified, a new danger was lurking somewhere nearby. 9 doors from where she stood, at number 26, a newspaper advert had even been fly-posted onto the wall, offering £100 to anyone that could tell them his name. Newgate Gallows were now calling for him, but Annie, anyway, then went to leave and turned back to Donovan before she did. "Never mind, Tim," she said. "I shall soon be back. Don't let the bed." She made her way along the side of the building, arrived here on Brushfield Street, walked off towards the church, and was gone. What exactly she did for the next 3.5 hours is a mystery. But then, at 5:45 a.m, 56-year-old John Davis awoke in his bed on the top floor of number 29 Hanbury Street, which at the time looked like this, but since being demolished in 1970, now looks like this today. Within 10 minutes, he would remember, he then made his way downstairs to use the outhouse, which stood in the back right corner of the yard, but on pushing open the back door, he made a horrifying discovery. At the bottom of the steps, Annie was lying in a pool of blood, with her throat cut violently, her eyes wide open, and her intestines pulled from inside her. Her left hand had been placed across her chest, brass rings that she'd been wearing had been torn from her, and whoever did it had smeared her blood across the fence post with his fingers. To make his escape, he had then fled back through the hallway, but, according to one newspaper at least, had left a chalk message on the back wall of the house before he did so. 5, it had supposedly said. 15 more, and then I give myself up. Leave a like on the video, and I'll see you back here next week for another Morbid Monday.